U.S. $14.3 trillion debt limit looms closer. The U.S. government is on track to hit its $14.3 trillion stationary debt limit as early as March 31st, and newly emboldened Republican lawmakers intend to use the need to raise it as leverage for spending cuts. Financial markets will listen closely to President Barack Obama's State of the Union address on Tuesday for any clues on whether he will be willing to strike a deal with Republicans to cut spending in exchange for a debt limit increase. A lengthy standoff could lead to worries in markets about a potential U.S. default. The national debt has continued to increase an average of $1.5 trillion per year over the past 3 years. To keep this in perspective, the U.S. debt increases $4.1 billion per day. That's $171 million per hour, and $2.9 million per minute. That's over $47,000 every second. Subaru seeks budget restraint to curb India inflation after rate rise. India's central bank urged the government to cut subsidies that are preventing inflation from easing as the governor increased interest rates for the 7th time in a year. Monetary policy works most effectively while dealing with an inflationary situation when the fiscal situation is under control, Subaru said yesterday after boosting the repurchase rate by a quarter point to 6.5%. The Reserve Bank of India may also need to keep raising rates to quell inflation that remains the highest in the group of 20 after Argentina and Russia. Imagine what would happen to the U.S. economy if the Fed raised interest rates to a 2-year high. Oh wait, interest rates have been 0% for over 2 years. Well, imagine what would happen to the U.S. economy if the Fed raised interest rates to 6.5%. Unfortunately, by the time they do so, price inflation will be well into the double digits, and we will need to see 20% interest rates in order to prevent hyperinflation. Food prices could double unless farming undergoes the, quote, greenest revolution, including genetic modification, cloned livestock, and nanotechnology, scientists have warned. The government-commissioned report said the current system of food production is not working as farms are focused on mass production that is destroying the environment. While billions of people around the world are hungry and malnourished, more than 1 billion others are suffering health problems because of obesity. The authors of the report pointed out that for the first time in 100 years, food prices are going up rather than down. They say food prices as a whole could rise by around 50% by 2050. Most agricultural commodities are up 50% in just the past 6 months. I don't think it's going to take 40 years for the food in your supermarket to rise 50% again. Maybe within the next 2 years is more likely. McDonald's likely to raise prices. Be prepared to pay more for burgers. McDonald's is looking to increase the price of some menu items as it tries to deal with the rising cost of beef and other ingredients. McDonald's is not alone. The restaurant industry is expected to raise prices in the face of rising commodity costs, and grocery stores began raising prices last year. The average price McDonald's pays for its most used ingredients such as chicken, wheat, and cheese is expected to go up 2% to 2.5% this year. As commodity and other cost pressures become more pronounced as we move through the year, we will likely increase prices to offset some, but not necessarily all, of these cost increases. If McDonald's, the world's largest restaurant chain by sales, is mulling over price increases, consumers can expect to see the cost of food going up everywhere. All the major packaged food companies, including Kraft and Sara Lee, have already warned of higher prices in 2011. This news from McDonald's comes only 1 month into the new year. Anyone want to bet that McDonald's raises prices across the board by double digits later this year? NIA should start a countdown to the death of the dollar menu. 12 things that are about to get cheaper. Whichever way you turn, many items will cost you more in 2011. From groceries to gas, travel to college tuition, there's more pressure on your dollars and dimes. Which is why it's good to know you can always rely on the tech industry to provide some welcome respite from the budget blues. Thanks to constant innovation, tech products usually become faster and cheaper each year. Kindle ebook readers, iPhones, plasma high-definition televisions, cameras, and laptops are just some of the electronic items that will likely cost you less this coming year. According to the website, the price of a Kindle could come down as much as 24% this year. Yeah, prices of food, energy, and college tuition would be getting cheaper too if the government allowed the free market to work and the Federal Reserve wasn't printing trillions of dollars out of thin air. As an aside, want to know what's cheaper than reading a book on a Kindle? Reading a book.